They say death is the end. But what if it's just the beginning? What if death can never truly claim you? What if the you that you think dies was never the real you in the first place? What if the body dies, but the soul doesn't? If death is the end, why do so many cultures believe it's just a transition? Can something eternal be claimed by something temporary? Have you ever asked yourself, who am I really? Most of us grow up identifying ourselves by our name, our face, our past experiences. We look in the mirror and say, that's me. But is it really? Are you your body? This vessel of skin, bones, and blood that changes every year? The body you had as a child is not the one you have now. It has aged, healed, grown, even shed cells, over and over again. Yet something within you feels unchanged. Constant. Are you your thoughts? Thoughts come and go. You can observe them, question them, even reject them. If you can watch your thoughts, then who is the you that's watching? Are you your memories? Memories fade. Some are forgotten. Some are distorted. And still you remain. Even when memory slips, there's a quiet awareness that does not. If you are not your body, not your thoughts, not even your memories, then what are you? There is something that's been with you since the moment you took your first breath. A deep, silent awareness. A knowing. A presence. You can't touch it. You can't measure it. But you know it's there because it's what allows you to know anything at all. This is what many spiritual traditions and philosophies call consciousness. Not brain activity, not the mind, but that which witnesses all of it. The silent observer behind your eyes. Because if you are consciousness, then you are not tied to the body that ages. You are not the thoughts that torment you. You are not the trauma of your past or the worry of your future. You are something deeper, something untouched by time, something that death might not be able to reach. If the body dies, does that mean you are gone? Or does the you that was never physical continue on? Can consciousness truly be destroyed if it was never made of matter to begin with? Maybe we spent too long thinking of ourselves as fragile and temporary. Maybe the truth is more beautiful, more freeing, and far more mysterious. Because once you begin to see that you are not the body, you stop fearing the moment it stops breathing. Welcome to Brain Vital Channel. If you're new here, we're so glad you found us. This is your go-to spot for easy, powerful tips to grow stronger, smarter, and succeed in life. Tired of being pushed around? Want to feel unstoppable and in control? Ready to discover the game-changing secrets that can take you to the next level? Smash that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell, so you're always in the loop when we drop new videos. This isn't just fun. It's about unlocking your true power. You have a choice. Stay where you are or step up and become the best version of yourself. Now let's continue. Have you ever asked yourself, what exactly is death? For most of us, we've been conditioned to see death as the final chapter, the end, a point of no return. But what if that idea is an illusion? What if death is only a physical event, something that happens to the body, not to the soul, not to the essence of who you are? Let's look at this differently. Think about sleep. Every night we close our eyes and our awareness fades. The world around us disappears. Time becomes meaningless. We don't fear that we'll vanish forever, even though we momentarily lose our grip on reality. In many ways, sleep is a kind of mini-death, and yet we always wake up. We come back. Consciousness returns. The self returns. So, here's the question. If sleep doesn't destroy consciousness, why should death? Could it be that what we call death is simply a deeper state of transition, just like sleep, but on a different level? We often say he died, but who is the he? Is it the body, the name, the personality? The truth is, what we often mourn is not the person's spirit, but their physical presence, their smile, their voice, their laugh, the memories we shared with them. But does the end of the physical automatically mean the end of the real self? Here's a humbling thought. You are not your body. You are not your thoughts. You are not even your emotions. Those are all things that change, things that come and go. But the part of you that watches, the part that knows, the awareness behind our eyes, that might not be so temporary. So again, we must ask, When we start to view death not as an ending, but as a transition, everything shifts. It humbles us. It frees us. It invites us to live with more depth, more presence, and more compassion, because we're no longer clinging to this moment out of fear. We're living it out of love. Maybe death is not the great destroyer we feared. Maybe it's the great revealer, not the end of you, but the beginning of remembering who you've always been. Long before modern science tried to explain life and death, humans already knew deep in their hearts that death wasn't the end. Across continents, across centuries, across languages and traditions, there was always a whisper: death is not the final word. In Hinduism, life is seen as part of an eternal cycle: birth, death, and rebirth. They call it samsara, a continuous wheel of existence. The soul, or Atman, is believed to be eternal, untouched by death. It leaves the body at death and enters a new one, depending on its actions, its karma. The ultimate goal is not to keep reincarnating, but to awaken, to break free from this cycle and merge with the divine. They call this liberation moksha. So in this tradition, death is not a loss, it's a transition, a step on a longer spiritual journey. Thousands of years ago, the Egyptians built pyramids and tombs not just to bury the dead, but to prepare them for the afterlife. They believed that every person had a soul, a ka, and a ba that would journey after death into another realm, but that soul had to be judged. Their heart was weighed against a feather, the symbol of truth and purity. If their heart was light, they moved on to eternal peace. If not, they faced a second death, the death of soul. To the ancient Egyptians, the soul survived death, but the life you lived determined what happened next. In Christianity, death is also not seen as the end, but as a doorway, a temporary separation between this life and eternal life. Jesus speaks of a kingdom, not of this world. He speaks of a place prepared for those who believe. He promises resurrection not just of the spirit, but of the body. There's a deep hope rooted in love, forgiveness, and salvation, that even in death, God remembers you, that you are never truly lost. Buddhism offers a unique perspective. It teaches that what we call the self is not fixed. It's a collection of changing parts, thoughts, feelings, sensations constantly shifting. So when we die, there's no permanent self that moves on, but the energy of our actions, our karma, continues. Imagine a flame lighting another flame. The fire continues, but not as the same flame. It's a gentle letting go, a realization. We were never the body. We were never the name. And so, there is no death, only transformation. When you step back and look at these traditions not with judgment, but with curiosity, you see something beautiful. Despite the differences in language, culture, and time, they all seem to sense the same truth. Death is not final. It's not the enemy. It's not even an end. It is a passage, a return, a waking up. Imagine your heart stops beating. Machines go flat. Clinically, you're gone. But then something happens. You find yourself in a place that feels more real than this one. A tunnel, a light, a presence. You're surrounded by a love so deep, it can't be described in words. And then just like that, you return. Near-death experiences often shortened as NDEs are profound personal experiences reported by people who were pronounced medically dead or very close to death, yet somehow came back. These stories have been told by thousands across the world, from every culture, background, and belief system. And while the details may differ, there are startling similarities in what they describe. Many describe passing through a dark tunnel, a space that feels like a bridge between two worlds. It's not frightening, it's peaceful. The darkness doesn't feel empty. It feels full of something beyond words. At the end of the tunnel, there's often a radiant, welcoming light. But it's not just light, it's awareness. People say, it knew me, it loved me, it understood me completely. This light is not bound by form. It feels like a presence, a knowing, no pain, no fear, no ego, just a deep sense of being home. So powerful, some people say they didn't want to come back. Some meet those they've lost family, friends, even pets. They aren't always speaking in words, but communication happens instantly, mind to mind, heart to heart. Many describe seeing moments from their life like a movie, not judged but shown with deep compassion. They feel what others felt, the joy they gave, the pain they caused. It's not punishment, it's reflection, growth, understanding. Now here's a deeper question. If the brain is shut down, how can these vivid, structured, emotional experiences still happen? Doctors have recorded NDEs in patients with flat EEGs, meaning no detectable brain activity. From a scientific point of view, these people should have had no experience at all. Yet what they describe is more real than waking life. So what does that say? Could it mean that consciousness doesn't live inside the brain, but uses the brain like a tool? Could it be that our awareness, our soul, our essence exists beyond the body? We don't claim to have all the answers, and not every story is the same. But when so many people across cultures, ages, religions, even children tell the same kind of story, maybe it's not just imagination. Maybe it's remembrance. What if these stories aren't proof of the afterlife, but glimpses of a deeper truth, that you are not your body. You are the awareness that witnesses it. Whether you believe NDEs are spiritual, psychological, or something in between, they challenge our understanding of life, deal, and what it really means to exist. So, if death is the end, why do so many come back changed, calm, and unafraid? Maybe it's because they saw the truth. And maybe it's because death was never the enemy to begin with. The brain is like a computer. Consciousness is the software that runs on it. When the brain stops functioning, consciousness also disappears. But some physicists and neuroscientists are starting to question that. What if the brain doesn't create consciousness? What if it's more like a radio receiving it from somewhere else? And if that's true, then death doesn't turn off consciousness, it just disconnects a radio. You don't come from the universe. You are the universe, experiencing itself in human form. I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivative from consciousness. Could it be that the universe itself responds to consciousness? That reality is not fully real until it's observed? If that's even partly true, then your awareness play a role in shaping the world around you. So, let's bring it back to death. If consciousness is fundamental, if it's not just a side effect of brain activity, then maybe when the body stops, consciousness doesn't. Maybe consciousness is not inside you. Maybe you are inside consciousness. And if that's the case, then death can't truly claim you, because death can't claim what was never born in the first place. Science doesn't yet have all the answers, but sometimes the questions it raises are even more powerful. And one of those questions is this: are you a body that's conscious? Or are you consciousness experiencing itself as a body? Even if we die, our actions, energy, and influence ripple out. When we think about legacy, we often picture monuments, statues, or even the names we leave behind in history books. But what if I told you that legacy isn't just what we leave behind in the material world, but also the invisible imprint we leave on people's hearts, minds, and spirits? The true legacy isn't just tangible, it's the ripple effect of the energy we share. Legacy is more than monuments. It's easy to think of legacy as something physical, an inheritance, a piece of art, or even the wealth we leave behind. However, there's a deeper, more spiritual legacy that's felt long after we've passed. It's the way we've touched others with our kindness, love, and wisdom. Energy is the real legacy. Have you ever met someone who, though no longer physically around, still influences the way you live, think, or feel? That's the kind of legacy we're talking about. It's invisible, yet deeply felt. Energy doesn't vanish, it shifts. Imagine dropping a pebble into a still pond. The ripples may fade, but the energy that created them continues, moving in ways we can't always see, but we know it's there. Scientific perspective on energy. In physics, energy is never destroyed. It only changes form. A spark of electricity doesn't just disappear. When it powers a light bulb, it transforms into light and heat. Similarly, the energy we give off our words, our actions, our emotions doesn't just fade away when we leave this world. It transforms into something else. The impact we made on others, the lessons we've imparted, the love we spread. Personal impact. When we express love, kindness, and care, this energy ripples through the world. The people we connect with, even briefly, carry a piece of us with them. That energy transforms into their own actions, thoughts, and feelings, which are then shared with others. We leave behind a network of influence that continues long after our physical presence is gone. It's not just about what we do while we're here, but how what we do shapes the world long after we're gone. Every action creates a ripple effect. Think about the small moments in life. A simple smile, a moment of understanding, or an act of kindness. These might seem insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but they accumulate. Your kindness may inspire someone else to be kind, and that person's kindness might spread to someone else. A single moment of positivity can lead to an avalanche of positive change. Your impact doesn't need to be grandiose. It can be subtle, yet profound. The idea of planting seeds. Not all the effects of our actions will be visible to us in our lifetime. Sometimes, the seeds we plant today might not grow into something we can see for years or even generations, but they are still growing, shaping the world in ways we might never fully comprehend. Stories of great figures who lived on through others. You can refer to figures like Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., or even personal heroes. Their actions and words continue to inspire and influence long after they've passed. Yet, their impact wasn't always immediate. Sometimes, the true depth of their legacy wasn't recognized until much later. The same goes for us. Our true impact might unfold slowly, but it's there. When we realize that our energy will never truly disappear, that it will transform and affect the world in ways we might never fully understand, we are given the most beautiful gift, the motivation to live with purpose. What we do now matters because it always matters. Living consciously. Understanding that your energy doesn't vanish makes every moment meaningful. You are creating the future right now through every thought, word, and action. Living with purpose means recognizing that your choices ripple out into the world, affecting people in ways you may not immediately see, but can always trust will be felt. Every decision you make has significance, whether it is small as holding the door open for someone or as big as starting a life-changing movement. Energy as a form of contribution. When we live with awareness of our energy, we can choose to channel it toward positive outcomes. The way we engage with others, the compassion we offer, the respect we show, it all contributes to a larger energy that extends beyond our lifetime. It's an unspoken contribution to the greater collective, helping to shape the world into something better, even in our absence. Purpose gives us power over time. Time may take away our physical presence, but it can never steal the purpose behind our actions. Purpose is timeless. It can weather the storms of life and transcend generations. It's the one thing that, even in death, ensures we are never truly gone. What if we stopped fearing the end and started living with the knowledge that what we do here lasts forever in some form or another? What if death isn't the moment that defines us, but the way we chose to live that defines us long after we're gone? Because in the grand scheme of things, death can never claim us. It can only transform us. As you wrap up this segment, encourage the viewers to reflect on their own lives. Ask yourself, how am I living? What kind of energy am I putting out into the world? What legacy do I want to leave behind, not in terms of material things, but in terms of how I made people feel, how I changed the lives of those around me? Are you living on purpose, knowing that your actions today ripple out into the future? So, will death ever truly claim you? This is a question that stretches beyond the physical realm of our reality. It's a question that challenges everything we've been taught, everything we believe about life, death, and what comes after. We often think of death as the final destination, the end of everything we know and understand about ourselves. But what if, just what if, death isn't the end at all? What if it's simply a transition, or even something else entirely? Think about this for a moment. Who are you? When you look in the mirror, you see your body, right? But what if you are not just your body? What if underneath all the flesh, the bones, and the blood, there is something deeper, something that isn't confined to this temporary vessel? The body is temporary, but is that really you? Your physical body will age, it will change, and eventually it will cease to function. But the essence of you, your thoughts, your consciousness, your awareness, these things don't seem to change with your physical form. They're not limited by age, gender, or appearance. In fact, they don't even seem to be limited by time and space. Think of your memories, your feelings, your thoughts. They exist inside you, but they're not made of physical matter. You can't touch them, and yet, they're you. These elements of your identity transcend the physical form you inhabit. They persist even as your body goes through changes. You can think back to moments from your childhood, to experiences that no longer exist in the physical world, but they still exist in your mind. Your thoughts can travel through time and space in a way that your body cannot. And now, think about your consciousness. Can you hold it in your hand? No, but it exists, doesn't it? And if consciousness exists beyond physical limitations, then could it be that it isn't limited by death either? If you are more than your body, if your consciousness is not bound by time or space, then how can death truly claim you? How can something that exists beyond the physical realm be touched by something that is inherently physical? Death is often perceived as a force that claims us in the end. But what if this claim is only on our physical bodies? What if in truth we are not our bodies, but something far more vast, far more eternal? Think of the analogy of a seed and a tree. When the seed grows into a tree, does the seed really die, or does it transform into something else? In the same way, our physical bodies may decompose, but what if our true essence, the energy, the consciousness, the spirit transforms into something new, something beyond the physical world? The seed doesn't cease to exist when it becomes a tree. It merely changes form. So, maybe death never truly claims you at all. Maybe it's not about the end, but about the transformation and continuation of something that's beyond our understanding. Now, let's look at death in a different light. Imagine it not as an end, but as a doorway, a threshold that we cross into a new realm, a new experience. In many spiritual traditions, death is seen as just a passage, a transition into the next phase of existence. It's not the ultimate end, but a shift like walking from one room into another. Why is this so powerful to consider? Because it challenges the deep-seated fear many of us have about death. We fear it because we see it as final. But what if it's not? What if it's simply a door to something else we cannot yet understand? Many people who have had near-death experiences speak of the sensation of moving through a tunnel, or stepping into a light, or even meeting loved ones who have passed on before them. These accounts suggest that death is not the end, but rather the beginning of something else, a new form of existence. For centuries, humans have feared death. It's been seen as the ultimate power, something we can never escape. But what if that fear is misplaced? What if death never had the power we thought it did? What if, instead of having the final word, death is just a momentary shift, an inevitable change, a transition that we all go through as part of our journey? The power of death over us lies in our fear of the unknown. But if we begin to see death as a doorway, a natural part of the cycle of existence, that fear might begin to fade. We can begin to understand that death has no power over something that is infinite, something that exists beyond the physical realm. Our consciousness, our true selves, are not bound by death. This means that even if our bodies die, the essence of who we are might continue to exist in some form, whether that's in the energy we leave behind, the impact we have on others, or even in the continuation of consciousness itself. Maybe death is just the beginning of a new chapter. In the grand scheme of things, death may be one of the most misunderstood aspects of our human experience. But by opening our minds to the possibility that we are more than just our bodies, that our consciousness is not confined to the physical, and that death might not have the power we've always thought it does, we begin to see it not as something to fear, but something to understand. So, will death ever truly claim you? Maybe, just maybe, it never had the power to claim what is eternal in you in the first place. So ask yourself, what if you've never truly been this body? What if death is not your enemy, but your greatest teacher? Because when you realize that death cannot claim you, you begin to live like you were never afraid to die. If this made you feel something, share it. Comment below what you believe happens after death. Don't just exist. Wake up. You were never meant to die.